This is your boy Sam at More Life One. I'm joined by my guy Matthew, and this is the voice of Florida State football on the voice of the College Football Network, man. What's going on, Matthew?
What's going on? What you saying? How you doing, bro?
Hey, man, everything good. I'm sorry about yesterday, man. Dude, I'm telling you, dude, my son has gotten me sick the last, out of 8 weeks, I've been sick 3. It's just like,
Wow.
yeah, bro, it's crazy, bro. I had to get some antibiotics and everything on Saturday. I was like,
Mm,
this is a struggle. Dying. It's
yeah,
killing me.
yeah. I
What's
feel
been
you. I
good
feel
with
you.
you though?
Not much, man. Just I finally recovered from being in Vegas so long a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
Definitely won't be out there for 6 days again. But other than that, man, just working and getting ready for the football season.
You
Just like
excited about
everybody else.
Dallas getting Pickens?
Oh yeah, for sure. I
Yeah.
mean, I know there's the questions about some of the maturity issues and all that, but I mean, at the end of the day, can you play football is what I want to know. And Pickens on the field is a dog. I mean, for him to be as productive as he has been, being with playing with those quarterbacks, now you get a guy that can actually sling the rock. So I'm actually excited to see what he can do out to CD.
Yeah. So you got Pickens going to Dallas, which I don't know how much better that makes Dallas. And you got the weirdest comment I heard, and I heard that today, was Mike Tomlin said he didn't want to have Shador because they couldn't deal with the
The type of
distraction.
guys I'm like,
Yeah.
brother, do you not remember some of the guys you brought in there?
Yeah, I was like confused by Tomlin saying this. I'm like, Tomlin, are you speaking for yourself or are you speaking
Yeah.
for other
And
people?
speaking of quarterbacks, you had a lot of controversy around the Big Ben. So
Yeah,
he
I
had a
was.
lot of stuff going on for a while.
Yeah,
So
so I'm kind of like, is Tom? That's why I'm thinking, was Tomlin not speaking for himself?
yeah, that was definitely a weird comment when that one hit Twitter. I mean, of course, that one blew up. Everybody was quoting it like, I mean, even Steelers fans was like, what is Mike talking about? I saw Steelers fans confused, like, Mike, you do remember you've been a coach here for a while, and we seen this before. This ain't our first rodeo with troubled type players. So
Yeah, I thought that
that
was
was definitely
weird.
weird.
I thought that was weird, man. But I'm excited for the NFL season coming up. Florida State got Travis Hunter, so I'm excited to see what that's going to look like. Them trying to play him both ways, man. But let's get into a little FSU stuff, man. I'm gonna let you go through some of these portal takes. I know a lot of people don't already talk about the portal. I think I want to focus on 2 guys though, because I think the rest of those guys are just fillers. So the
Right.
running back and the cornerback, I think are two.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. The two linemen they got Matthews and Raymond. Those guys didn't get on the field last year. So
right,
those are going to be your depth guys, and of course Gavin Blackwell, the receiver from North Carolina. He's a depth guy too. He has experience, but you're talking about a guy that's only had I think 448 yards in 4 years, and the only touchdown he had was 3 years ago. So he's definitely a depth guy. So as far as Gavin Sawchuk, I think he's the one that people are the most excited about as far as this last little group of portal guys they got
right,
because he looks like more than likely the one that's really going to get probably the most playing time next year out of these
right,
quarter guys.
right.
He had a hamstring issue last year that limited him, a little bit. But from the people I talked to that cover Oklahoma, they say that he's not a guy that's going to get away from you. He's not a burner necessarily,
Hmm.
but if he can get in open space, he can do some things for you. He has ability. He can catch out of the backfield. Um, he can run between the tackles. So I think he's the one that's, you know, granted, like we talked about, the portal hasn't really been rich with a whole lot of talent this year. But as far as the guy that they got recently, I think he's the one I think people should be the most excited about because he's probably going to play the most. Well, he is going to play the most from what it looks like.
Mm, okay. So let me ask you this question: do you think with that guy at running back, what does that say about the running back room as a whole? I don't even understand why they're taking a running back. To be honest with you, I was a little surprised.
Yeah, I something tells me that they're not as high on Cam Davis as they once were.
Mhm.
I've been hearing that there's a lot of people who are around the program that think that he just doesn't really have like the it factor inside as far as like putting in the work and getting better.
Right.
I hope that's not the case.
That's weird.
But
I don't think he's lazy though. I've never heard that's the first time I've actually heard that, to be honest with you. I heard he's a pretty hard worker. I
okay,
mean, that's the first time I
it's
heard that.
always conflicting reports though, so
Well, no,
you
I
might
was just
you might
saying when
go.
you said that, it kind of like perked my eyes up. Like that's the first time I heard that. I mean, but at the same time, I mean, I'm not asking people about him all the time either. So I mean,
Mhm.
maybe things have changed since he's further back in the running back room, though.
Yeah, it just looked like last year, like he just looked real hesitant whenever he had the ball. He wasn't sure of himself. He looked real tiptoey in the hole, like and it looked so different from the stuff we were hearing about, in practice. They were like, oh man, this guy's got the gear, he's hitting the hole hard, he's running hard.
Right.
And we didn't see that in the limited chance that he got. And then of course, he had, a little bit of fumbleitis too, which is not good. So,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So like he definitely came out the gate slow. If he sticks around, I hope that he can, find whatever he hasn't yet, because he had a lot of talent coming out. But I think people have to remember that he actually, in high school, he played a lot of quarterback too.
Yeah, he did play some quarterback. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I think a lot of people are like, well, how long has he really been just focused on being a running back, and how much does he really want to be a running back? I don't really know that much, but
I think he definitely wants to be a running back. I think he wants to be a running back. I think the biggest problem with him is he just doesn't have a lot of wiggle. You know what I'm saying? He don't
right,
have
yeah,
I always heard this thing about when it comes to running backs, like you have to be able to make people miss in a phone booth. Like
hmm
it don't have to be a
yeah,
lot
of
of rules,
course,
but you got to be able to make a miss, and he just doesn't really do that.
yeah, the way Emmitt Smith he used to do.
Yeah, yeah, just make
Like
you.
Emmitt didn't have a lot of wiggle, but he could do one little sudden thing and create enough space. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that's a big deal with Cam, and I think, man, it's so weird with Cam, man, because I know a lot of people like him coming out of high school. I wasn't that high on him,
Hmm.
um, which is weird because I haven't been high on a lot of the Georgia running backs. I know Georgia was recruiting him, but then I
Hmm.
heard that they kind of pulled the offer, that last minute, like they didn't really like him as much. And I haven't liked the running backs that Georgia itself has been recruiting, to be honest with you. Like it's been a
Hmm.
Bennett, like it's been like since like DeAndre Swift that I've actually liked it, a running back
Yeah,
that Georgia's recruited, to be honest with you. I don't A lot of their guys are very stiff to me. They don't make people miss. They just kind of all of them are like plotters. They're not really special to me. So
yeah,
and Cam kind of fits that mold, and he doesn't have. I mean, he's a small guy. He hits the he. I mean, he packs a punch, man. But
right.
you know that initial burst is not a lot either, man. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So it's
No.
kind of it's a tough eval, man.
Yeah, because that was the thing with me last year. Like when he got the ball in his hand, it took him so long to get to the line of scrimmage. It seemed like,
Yeah, yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? It seemed real indecisive. And being football guys, running back, that's the one thing you cannot have is be indecisive when you about to hit the hole. You have to hit the hole running. So he just looked like he just wasn't confident in doing that last
Right. And then you got the cornerback who they recruited, because I don't want to get too bogged down on Cam Davis, because I mean I
year. Yeah,
think we're talking about a player that might only touch the ball 3 times a game. So I don't want to
right,
just
right, yeah.
if he touches that, to be honest with you. Um let's talk about the cornerback they brought in, because I actually do think this is a big deal.
You talking about boat right from USC?
No, no, I'm talking about the guy from Houston.
Oh, you talking about the other guy? Okay, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
the Houston. Yeah, he's whenever I saw that they got him a few weeks ago, I saw a lot of people like around the program that were really, really high on him. A lot of people talking about how they knew about him coming out of high school. And some people, around the Texas area were telling me that Florida State got a good one. I think he's gonna I think he's gonna come in and compete to play. Um, so I'm very interested to see how that's going to work with the guys that they have in the room. So yeah, him and probably Gavin the Saltchuk are probably the two transfers that they've gotten lately that I think people have been the most high on.
Yeah, I think so too, man. I think so too, and I think those guys are both helped them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think the big deal with that cornerback they got, to be honest with you, I don't think they felt good about any of the outside cornerbacks. I think they feel good about the guys in the slot. I think they like the safeties, but they don't feel comfortable with anybody on the outside. Which
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Going into the Alabama game, that's my biggest concern because I know for a fact Kalen DeBoer, man, if you feel like your cornerbacks are not very good, dude, he will throw a lot of shots, man. So that could become a thing where if you can't hold up on the outside, you could see a blowout. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because he won't
Yeah.
stop. Like you saw what he did against Georgia. Like he just kept going. Like if he finds something that he think that you're not good at,
Mm-hmm.
he will go to it over and over and over and over again until,
Right.
I mean, I watched him do it when he was with Washington with Penix, man. I mean, they used to do some crazy things and they used to make Oregon look silly. So
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be important that they do hold up on the outside. But I do think getting that guy from Houston, man, hopefully that helps you out a lot in the secondary and kind of brings that secondary together and makes it whole. If
Yeah.
they do that, I think they got a chance to stay in that Alabama game because that's gonna be a big game for them. They need to
Yeah.
show a lot of fight in that game. They need to show a lot
Yeah.
of fight.
Yeah. And just to add to what you said, holding up on the outside too, but I think with that 3-3-5 scheme, it's going to be real important for whoever that guy is in the middle of that defensive line to really be a space eater and
Well,
really.
something that concerns me a lot, and I'm not trying to be super negative, but
Mhm.
hold on real quick. Let me mute this real quick. I'm sorry, man. Something that concerns me a lot with the 3-3-5 and whatnot. The first year under Tony White, when he first got to Nebraska, they played Colorado in that like second game. And Colorado like really lit them up, with that passing game. And that's kind of my concern going into this Bama game because it's like Tony trying to put this defense in, and it took him a couple games with Nebraska
Right.
to kind of get them to play solid. You know, this year you're gonna have a team with you're gonna play a team with Alabama with a quarterback. I think whatever quarterback they play with Alabama is gonna be more accurate than Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe was not a very
Right.
accurate quarterback. So you're gonna
Mhm.
play a very
He's just an
accurate
athlete.
quarterback. Somebody's gonna be able to get the pitch and catch. And Ryan Williams is, I'm not saying he's generational, but he is at
Scares me in
any
this game
moment he touch it,
though.
he can go. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Mhm.
So they gotta hold up on the outside, man. And that's my biggest concern, that the defense ain't where it need to be in the secondary. And Ryan
Yeah.
Williams go for like 200 yards.
Yeah. Yeah. Holding up on the outside, and also to me, man, just who's gonna be in the middle of that 3-3-5 on the line? 'Cause they gonna have to be they like that. That's gonna be a key spot for us. Like who's gonna be that guy in the middle of that defensive line? Because if we're weak there, then that whole 3-3-5 is gonna get shredded. Whether it be run or pass. So
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. So I guess that's enough that some of that FSU stuff, unless you got anything else you want to say about FSU, the roster.
no, just um, I just hope that Sawchuk can come here and give some spark to this running game, man. The running game was so bad last year, coupled with the offensive line. So, I mean, really for me, man, like just the team in general, just we gotta be better in the trenches before anything. From offensive and defensive lines, those are the main things that I'm looking at. So, if we don't get either one of them corrected, then ain't none of the rest stuff gonna matter anyway.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, man. So I want to talk about something else with some stuff that I think is going to help with FSU is this whole ACC. So
Hmm.
Clemson signed this deal with Notre Dame, 12-year
Hmm.
deal. Like, hey, we're gonna play each other for 12 years, right? They
12
guarantee each
years,
other that game for the next 12 years. And I
yeah.
thought that was fascinating that they did that. And I'm thinking to myself, like, well, what the hell is FSU doing? Because it sounds to me N- Not this year. Maybe next year we start hearing of the ACC being either dissolved or engulfed into another conference and teams splitting up.
Mhm,
So I think we're on our way there because they already talking about doing a 12-team playoff, right? Hello, was it 12 last year? It was 8 last year, right?
mhm.
Or was
Last
it
year was
12
12.
last?
Yeah.
Last year was
Mhm.
12. I'm sorry, man. This shit is I can't. It's hard keeping up with this stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, the reason why I say it's hard keeping up for it because to me, I think in college football, only 2 teams in the given year, maybe three, can actually win a national championship in 1 year, in one given year. I don't. I think we waste a lot of time getting to the end of a process. This is my opinion. Like I think a
Mhm.
lot of this stuff is for money. I think we want more football, but I think we're wasting a lot of time getting to the end result. Is my opinion.
Interesting.
So whether you go 8 teams, 4 teams, 12 teams, 16 teams, I think the
Mhm.
champion, the team that wins, it's probably the team that always is going to win in any scenario that you put them in.
Yeah. I mean,
My opinion,
me personally, I wasn't too keen on it being 12 teams.
right?
I've always thought that four was enough.
I
Um,
I was perfectly happy with 2, but I'm a curmudgeon like that. I mean, I well, I just I think a 12 team the problem with the problem with football in college football, in my opinion, is people want to have a 12-team playoff or a 16-team playoff because they want to say we got parity.
yeah.
They want to say we got parity. So that's why we need more teams in the playoffs. Well, my whole point is the only way you can have parity is if you actually level the playing field. And the playing field in college football can't be leveled. Like
Right.
the Alabamas, the Notre Dames, the Georgias, the Florida States, the Clemsons, like the Oklahomas, the Texas, like more times than not, they're going to be able to put together the type of rosters the USC's can put the type of rosters together
Mhm.
that could win a national championship. Like
Right.
Oklahoma State is probably never going to put a roster together that's going to win a national championship ever. Like
Yeah.
it's never going to
Yeah.
put a roster together to do that. Don't mean they won't have a good couple good players, but so
Mhm.
anyway, but my whole point is that with Clemson and Notre Dame inking that deal, that tells me Notre Dame knows what's coming next because Notre Dame is always in front of this stuff. Always.
Yep.
They're
Yep.
always in the front of all this stuff. So with Notre Dame doing that, that tells me they know something coming down that deal, down the pipeline. I think it's coming the next 2 years, man. I don't think we're too far away from it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, and as you know, I mean, it's just time for Florida State to get out of the ACC. I mean, it's been time for a couple of years now. It's obvious that to me, it's obvious that the conference doesn't even want Florida State there. To me,
Yeah.
so it's like, why be somewhere where you're not wanting? Of course, everybody's expecting it to be the Big Ten that Florida State goes to. That's the conference that's been thrown around the most is the Big Ten. So I'm just ready for it to happen, just to kind of give the university a fresh start.
Yeah. I do think it's gonna eventually be the Big Ten. I think how they get there is gonna be odd because I was listening to somebody that probably would know. They were saying that I think I said I think I said it on my pod, but they were basically saying like Florida would never allow Florida State into the SEC, and I guess in the SEC there's like charter members in the SEC, so like Bama, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida. I want to say Vandy,
Yeah,
but some of these, but anyway, their votes hold a heavier weight than the other person's vote because they're charter members.
right.
This is what I heard. I don't know how true this is. I ain't never read the bylaws, but he was saying that basically that's why FSU isn't in the SEC because Florida would never
Hmm.
allow it. Yeah, and they would never get the votes to get to actually do it. So when Mizzou and Texas A&M moved into the SEC, Texas A&M was pissed that Oklahoma and Texas came into the SEC. Then they had a
Hmm.
voting power to vote them out, to not allow them to come in.
Yeah.
But the rumor is the reason why Oklahoma, Texas came in was to help kind of spread some of the voting power out a little bit. So maybe you could vote in a Clemson, because South Carolina's kind of holding up Clemson get into the SEC,
Okay.
or Florida kind of holding up Florida State. But
Florida State.
I heard if Florida State left the if Florida State joined the SEC, that Florida would actually join the Big Ten.
Really?
They would just jump out of the SEC and go to the Big Ten. They just do not want to be in a conference with Florida State. I don't know. That's something I heard. I don't know how that's.
Interesting.
I don't know. Something I heard. I just thought it was weird. But
Yeah, that's definitely weird.
but I mean, I don't know. It's just something I heard. But I find that stuff very interesting, man. So you know, um, we'll see how that go. But I did find Notre Dame signing that deal kind of interesting because I know Notre Dame is not going to join a conference.
Yeah. No, never.
Like they're not doing that. So
Yeah, they're gonna
this
be
idea, like,
independent.
because somebody will say, "Well, that must mean Notre Dame's going to the Big Ten." I'm like,
Nah,
Notre Dame got a $50 million deal at NBC. They're not going to
they're not.
share
Yeah,
any
they
of
don't
that
have no
$50 million.
reason to go nowhere. Yeah,
They're not sharing any of that $50 million. They're just
correct.
not going to share. I heard Notre Dame brings in football wise like close to like almost $100 million, dude, a year.
I wouldn't doubt it.
They don't split that money with anybody. They collect all that money, dude. I think I don't even know if they even give. I don't know. I don't know if they give the ACC any of their bowl money.
Hmm.
I don't think they
Okay.
even split any of their bowl money with Florida State, to be honest with you. So, you know, that's not changing. So, lock in. And we got a new pope, and he's from Chicago. So
Yeah.
that ain't happening. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
right. All this stuff tied in
Yeah.
together. So, I personally, I would like personally for FSU to end up in the SEC. I think it makes more sense
Yeah.
personally. It makes more sense. I mean, you don't really want to be playing in Oregon, in Washington,
Right.
in
Mm.
Michigan.
No.
I don't know. I think that'd just be odd and weird, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and then just geographically, it just makes more sense to be in the SEC. So
Yeah, definitely does. And I think the last topic that we got sent up here is um so the NIL, they had some big news NIL. So Nick Saban's like talking to Trump to get some type of basically NIL legislation out.
hmm
How you feel about that?
uh, well, me personally, I mean, anything that involves President Trump, I'm always going to think it's kind of corrupt anyway. But then again, college football, you know, we all know there's a lot of shenanigans to go on with that institution anyway, the NCAA. But I mean, sometimes me with Nick Saban, I kind of, when he talks about NIL and all that, I kind of laugh because, when he was benefiting from a lot of that stuff, he didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah,
And
but
then,
I don't think Nick has a problem with paying kids. I don't think that's his problem at all. I think he has zero problem with paying kids. I think his problem is putting the power back with the coaches and the organization where they can develop. They can go back to coaching and developing, like not having 1 year rosters anymore. I think he want to
yeah,
get out of
uh,
1 year rosters. I mean,
no,
that's
no, no, that is one thing that I kind of agree with him with.
right.
Because, like you said, speaking of Florida State, I mean, the 1 year roster thing, that's really hurting Florida State because we haven't been able to establish a recruiting class to like build a foundation yet. So the more we keep bringing in these portal guys and these little 1 year whatever, these little 1 year walk offs, it's going
Right.
to keep your overall program in the same spot. You're not going to be able to build like that. You're just going to keep flushing in portal guys. They're going to be gone in a year. Now
Yeah.
you're going to be back with the same problem the next year. So
Right.
I definitely agree with that part. As far as the legislation, I mean, I guess we just have to see like the particulars, like exactly what he wants to do and how he wants to do it. Because I know that he had. You are right. He has talked a lot about the developing the players part,
Right.
and he thinks that the money that's being thrown around would take away from that. I think he has a point there. Um, but
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
just
it'll
don't.
be interesting.
Yeah, I just don't think he cared. Like, cause people keep saying that, oh, he's just mad because the system ain't benefiting. And I'm like, I don't think Nick gives a damn about paying players. Like, I think he is okay with getting kids Raptors and cars and the parents' house. I mean, he was at the forefront of paying high school coaches to bring their kids to his camps. He was at the forefront of that stuff. And when he explained, cause remember he was paying coaches, 7-on-7 coaches, high school coaches, to bring kids to the Alabama camps, and the NCAA, stopped them from doing it because other coaches was complaining about it, right?
Yeah.
And when they asked him about it, when he explained it, it made sense to me. He said, "Well, that coach makes $50,000 a year, $60,000 a year, right?
Mhm.
If he want to come here, I think he can. He bringing his kids, so he needs money for a room,
Mhm.
gas money. He's trying to help those kids get into a college that could change their lives, especially if they go on to the NFL. You know, to him, he felt like paying a coach $10,000 for a weekend was in the coach's best interest and the player's best interest and the university best interest. I thought it made sense. You know,
Yeah.
I think a lot of times when it comes to money in college athletics, we automatically want to label the shit corrupt. I don't really think it's I don't think it's that corrupt, personally. I think when you hear these big dollar figures, these big numbers, people want to be like, "Oh, well, they shouldn't be making this." I'm like, "Well, you probably feel that way because you're not getting it." But if somebody was paying you $50,000 or $100,000 to
Right.
bring your kid to get your kid, then you probably wouldn't feel that way. You probably would feel like the money
Right.
should be unlimited. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
That's a good point. That's a good point.
but the thing about the problem that college football is having is um with the NIL and keeping these kids is that because you can't make the kids employees, they would love to make the kids employees, right? The colleges don't want to make the kids employees because if you make them employees, now workman comp comes in, right? So now you playing this game, it's a physical ass game, and you got workman's comp. I mean, that can be. I mean, you talking about kids can be on your payroll for the next 20 years with bad
Right.
backs, neck
Hmm.
injuries. So that's a big deal. So they got to figure. I've been of the opinion that they need to sell the affiliations of the school. That's my
Hmm.
opinion. Like
Yeah.
sell the licensing to like if you sell the license to like an Amazon or a hedge fund where they license is Florida State, and then
Yeah.
you say, hey, I want y'all to give us $60 million per year for the licensure and give us half of what y'all make in the stadium. Y'all put them on workman's comp. Y'all deal with it, right? So then it becomes like a mini NFL type
Yeah.
situation. That's my opinion, but that's the
Yeah.
only way I can see it really working. But how much money is it worth to license? I mean, it's only probably what 35 schools branding wise that's worth paying 50,
Yeah.
60
See,
million
you
dollars
see,
for the year
and
licensing.
that's the other thing about it. Like, it's only gonna be like you said, it's only select few that can really generate that. So, of course,
Yeah,
we all know who they are. The blue bloods and some of the other guys.
yeah. So yeah, man, but that's yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. But I like where Florida State's at in the NIL picture, to be honest with you. I I do think if FSU could, with the structure FSU has, because a lot of people keep speculating on Mike Norvell's job, and I keep telling people like I just don't
Uh,
see, I can't see them firing this man while we in the ACC,
uh,
while recruiting looks the way it looks. I just can't. You got to rebuild a new stadium for like $45 million. You trying to put a football players only facility for another 40, 50 million. I mean, you talking about $150 million. I just can't see it. Like I just don't see how that works like that. So
yeah,
I think it's Mike here. I think people need to kind of get a grip and understand that he's gonna be here. Like I don't. He,
yeah,
he will have to win 2 games again
exactly. And that's
to
the
be on
thing.
the
It's
table.
just the 2-10 was such a shock. And of course, that's going to get people all the way to the point where they want to get people out of here. But I'm like, you gotta understand, he just came off of 2 years where he went 23-4. Like
Right.
they're not going to see 1, 2, and 10 seasons and throw the whole process away. Like that. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
But of course, we've talked about it, a lot on here and behind closed doors. It's just the recruiting part has got to get better. Like that's the main thing. You got to start getting better kids out of high school and less emphasis on these guys that are in the portal.
Yeah.
Because until they get those classes that set their foundation, it's gonna be a continuous problem every year. It's gonna be okay. Now we gotta take these big wave of portal guys because we
Right.
gotta fill these spots, and these guys are gonna be here for a year, maybe two at the most. You're not gonna get a whole lot of 4 year eligibility guys. Like that's
Yeah.
just not gonna happen a lot. It's gonna be a lot of 1 and 2 year guys. They're
Right.
trying to go to a spot, compete somewhere, get some money, get seen more. That's why they go to the bigger programs and stuff like that. And, so that's the main thing. Once they get the recruiting aspect better, everything it's going to be a domino effect with everything else. So once they get that, I'll start feeling a little better. I mean, I do think we talked about it, they're going to be better than 2-10 this year. I'm not expecting no 2-10 team.
Well, they got a record.
Uh,
Their record, the schedule they got won't
yeah,
allow them to go 2-10.
no,
It
no,
won't allow
mm,
it. They that first the first 5 weeks, if they don't come out of that 4-1,
yeah, yeah.
something badly
Please
has
come out of that
happened.
4-1.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
because if you beat Alabama, you should be 5-0 coming out of
yeah.
that stretch. Before you play Miami and all that. So
Hmm.
yeah, so if they're anything less than 4-1 going to that, I'm gonna be kind of concerned about that. That
Yeah.
means because that means it means you definitely probably would have lost to Alabama, but who is this other loss going to be against? It's going to be against an inferior type team. So
Yeah.
that's going to have me kind of worried about where
The
they're
one
at.
thing I
So
will say is Virginia is usually it's always this one game on the ACC schedule, right? Where you be like a
yep,
team is kind of like got enough of their guys gotten older, and they kind of like they hit a sweet spot with older guys and probably got some guys out the
mm,
portal. Like
yep,
Wake Forest used to do this, and Duke could have a couple
mm,
year two run. Virginia's that team where they're like a sweet spot where if everything clicks the way I think it could click for Virginia, like they could have a sneaky 9-win season.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? So that's a game
yeah,
that you play them early. You really need to beat Virginia. Like, don't lose to Virginia when everybody's watching, because that's not
right,
gonna be a good look, right? So you need to beat Virginia. Like that's one of the must-win games of your season. I mean, if you lose to Virginia, people gonna be like, okay, all right, okay.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
because it's Virginia. Like ain't nobody gonna have all that context that I got that I'm saying, Virginia's a team that, if you're a betting guy, you want to go look at your Hard Rock app, and you see them at 6.5, maybe bet the
mm,
over with Virginia. You might better make a couple coins. You know what I'm saying?
right, right,
But that's not gonna matter on ESPN when they show 35-30. You lost 35-30 to Virginia. They be like,
yeah,
whoa, what's going on?
right, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, so that's gonna be kind of dicey. So, man, but I think FSU's position in the future to do big things, especially they get in the Big Ten or the SEC, NIL wise, I think FSU can compete with anybody. If you gave them that big money from other conferences, they'll be fine.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Um, I I think if you got in the SEC or Big Ten at that point, I would look at firing Mike Norvell. I would because I feel like you could hire somebody that can recruit better, and you could have the money to pay
Hmm.
him back off.
Right. Yeah.
But as long as you stuck in this conference, I'm absolutely not doing that.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I'm absolutely not doing that. So, yeah, and yeah, I think Five Adams said. I think it's crazy. I actually don't think it needs a salary cap per se, because I think like baseball don't have a salary cap, right? They let everybody go for what you know, but the teams that spend the most money don't always win. The problem
Yeah.
to me
Most of the time they
is
don't.
yeah, the problem to me in football is that you have to give the teams time to develop the players. If that's 2-year contracts, they have to be on 2-year contracts. I don't care how much money you spend. Like to me,
Right.
Georgia should be able to spend whatever they want to spend. Like Bama should be able to spend whatever they want to spend. Everybody should be able to spend what they. I don't want to see Boise State having the same salary cap as Florida State. I don't want to see
No,
that. That's
no,
you
not
know what
at
I'm
all.
saying? Like that. I
Yeah.
mean, what's the advantages of being Florida State? What's the advantages of you have won 3
Hmm.
national championships, over 100 years or whatever. You know, why I got to be on the same playing field with Boise State or Oklahoma State? Like,
Right.
I don't want a salary cap in college football. I just want it. Whatever we sign, whatever we decide to pay, like, let me have that for 2 years. If I sign this recruiting
Yeah,
class,
at least.
I got to be able to keep them for 2 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of
Or
course.
at least 2 years.
Yeah.
If these kids want big money deals, $5 million, well then you got to stay for 3 years. You know,
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
I just want structure with it. I don't really salary cap. I'm just like everybody. I've heard so many people
Structure's
say
the
this.
main part.
Bring a salary cap. I keep trying to tell people it's not the NFL. Everybody's not gonna get the same distribution of money coming in.
Nah.
Everybody's, you know. So I mean, even though Vandy is in the same conference as South Carolina get more donors than Vandy when it comes to football. You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
so they still not equal. They're in the same conference. They're not getting equal payouts.
Not equal. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm totally against salary cap. Let
Yeah.
me see here.
Yeah. I'm not a salary cap guy either.
My guy said he got Florida State at 7.
7 wins.
Yeah, I don't want to get into that conversation quite yet because I
Yeah, I
want to
don't want
wait a
that
little
to.
bit until after the ACC meetings,
Hmm.
which that's gonna be hilarious because the conference is steady dying. So I don't know how they're gonna keep having these ACC meetings. It's kind of
Right.
hilarious to be honest with you. Yeah, man. But I think that's it though, man. It's a pretty good show.
Yeah, man.
Got to come
Yeah.
back next
Say,
week and do it again.
yeah. Come back and hopefully they got some news on the recruiting trail we can talk
Man,
about
I tell you,
uh,
it's dead as a
instead
doorknob
of
on
the.
the recruiting trail.
Yeah.
It's dead
It's
as a
just not.
doorknob, man.
It's either portal visits or portal additions, but and recruiting visits. But I would like to see some commits come through for 2026. But I don't know, man.
It's just not a good recruiting staff, man. And they're lazy. That's the worst part about them. They're lazy. So, that's all I can say. They need to be better, I can tell you that. But
Yes,
man,
please get better because that's the one aspect that's holding them back the most, man, is getting that recruiting. 'Cause once you get that, everything else gonna fall in line.
yeah, I think they should get rid of the championship, these conference championships. I think that's what he's talking about.
Mhm. You like to
Um,
see championship?
it says, would you like to see championship week, top 10 SEC, top 10 Big 10, top 10 ACC, top 10 Big 12? I mean, I think we're gonna get more of those big matchups. That's already here. Like, that's here. It's coming. It's here. It's not going anywhere. So that's coming. So I'm not really worried about that part. But I would like to. I would like to see them. I would like to see them change out the championship week. You know what I'm saying? I can't, it's funny because I do think the SEC championship game is like a big damn deal. Like I do like
Oh
watching
yeah.
that shit. I do.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
the rest of them don't really seem like they matter that much.
Yeah, it always seems like when it's conference championship week, the one that everyone's really talking about is the SEC one. It don't matter what's going on in the other ones. Like that's
Yeah.
always the one that's got the most buzz. You
Yeah.
know, yeah. So, and if you
I
and if
wish
you
those were
uh if you look back on the history of the ACC championship games, they they've been kind of dull. A lot of them.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
um, yeah, especially
But
when
yeah, man.
Clemson was winning every year, they were just blowing everybody off the field. So,
Definitely was, man. But let me get out here so I can finish watching this Knicks versus Boston game. I'm praying for a Knicks
yeah,
win. I'm praying for a Knicks
the
win.
thing is, I can't stand either
Bro,
organization, but
how did Dallas pull off that fleece?
NBA is so rigged. It's not even
It's ridiculous, bro.
funny.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, right after this happened, you just supposedly luck up and get the number one. Like, come on, man. It's just,
They made it too
it's
obvious this year. They should at least
it
wait a
made it
year to get
way too obvious. I mean, granted, it's been
it.
obvious, other times before too. Just like LeBron was saying, because even LeBron was saying, even when he got picked to Cleveland, he's like, coincidentally, Cleveland got it when I got number one picked, and somehow Chicago got Derrick Rose, and somehow
Yeah.
what was it? What was it? The year that
Patrick Ewing got to the
yeah,
Knicks.
Patrick Ewing to the Knicks. So I mean, but this year it was just like, now if you did this like next year or something, they wouldn't look so. But like literally months later, now they got a number one pick. It's like, all right, okay, we get it. Like we get it. It's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But man, that's crazy. So then
yeah,
they gonna
that's
get
crazy.
flagged. So if I'm Dallas, no lie, this is what I do. I don't even play Anthony Davis next year. I don't. I just wait for Kyrie to get back the year after.
Mhm.
I just let it be the flag show all next year
Yeah,
with the role players, and
uh,
then when I get Kyrie back the next year, that's when you make a championship run.
yeah, yeah.
Because
It's
you'll have AD, you have Kyrie, PJ Washington. You're gonna end up trading Gafford to the Lakers. It's bound to happen. He's going to the Lakers. Just watch. They
yeah.
can't help themselves. So,
The big
but
thing
yeah,
now is gonna
man.
be where the hell Giannis gonna end up. So
Yeah. It's crazy. Good NBA talk. All right, man. That's enough of that for the state pod.
yeah, yeah, man. We'll be back at it next week, man.
All right, man. Y'all make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe to the pod, man.
Yes, sir.
And we
Go
out.
Nose, baby.